Hello. This week, OISTE, which is the International Organization for Secure Electronic Transactions based in Geneva, or in French, OISTE, Organisation Internationale de la Sécurité des Transactions Électroniques, is going to give a keynote at the United Nations Emblematic Human Rights and Alliance Civilization Room. This keynote will be focused on the global dialogue that has been established towards the goal of one humanity. Basically, the intersection between human intelligence and artificial intelligence, hand in hand for a better world. During my presentation, I will describe what has been already debated many times after we published in 2016 the Transhuman Code bestseller, which basically was how can we put humans at the center of gravity. There's a lot of criticism going around against the fourth industrial revolution, the fact that technology companies are absorbing total control over digital persona, the fact that the metaverse and the exponentiality of technologies are incrementing the problem that already existed when social media and social networks arrived, where basically we don't consider anymore a user as a human, we are considered a user as a consumer. So the notion of consumer in the Internet of Things, in the fourth industrial revolution, on the metaverse, it is a notion which needs to be revisited, because if we are only consumers and the only thing we do is to consume, then our humanity will be compromised. So basically the big question is how to put the human in the center of gravity. It's not only to describe the issue, because there's endless conference and international meetings around the world, and they are talking about the what is the problem and why this problem emerged. We are more into focusing into the how to solve it, how to reduce that dependency humans had basically on the fourth industrial revolution by not being able still, after so many years on the World Wide Web existence, to be able to control our identity. Maybe in terms of identity, let's define what an identity is. A digital identity is basically an extrapolation of our human identity on the internet. So our human identity is protected. We have human rights that protect our human identity. We have institutions like the United Nations Commission for Human Rights that protects the human rights, and where one of them is the right to be treated as a human in a fairness way, and being able to respect our humanity. These rights are not necessarily available when we enter the internet, and the reason why is because we do not bring our human identity into the internet. What we do is basically to obtain a consumer identity, and this is the misunderstanding. We believe that by obtaining a consumer identity, which is the identity you get from social media networks or any organization, then they will be basically very interested in you because they would like to sell you product, or they would like to bring advertisers to sell you products and make money in that intermediation. You as a human, you don't exist. You exist as a consumer. So this lack of understanding of the difference between we need to be humanly protected on the fourth industrial revolution, because this is going to happen regardless of whether we want it or not. This is a fact of life, that this revolution is happening already in front of our eyes, where basically our data or behavior or emotions are being captured by algorithms, then they are later able to replicate them or monetize them in ways that we basically as a person, we have not consent. So I've been always saying, since I work in the UN for many years, and after the WISE-Key, and then when we launched the OISTE Foundation, which focused on protecting basically humans on the internet, about how can we reverse the model. It is a complex battle, to be honest, because the business model on the fourth industrial revolution is based on the fact of selling you as a consumer. So your data is your currency. And when you basically give away that right of your concerns to your data, this is the currency you're paying to get all those amazing free services that you're getting. But it creates a dangerous relation between you as an individual versus you as a potential consumer identity. And in the future, where it's going to be an avatar. I mean, the metaverse is going to accelerate this to extremes. For instance, your avatar in the future will be able to do things totally different than what you do with your personal person, with your physical bones and human structure. You will be brought into virtual spaces where your avatar might participate in meetings, having conferences, do transactions, and after return those transactions back to you at the end of the day. So imagine you don't need to go to a meeting, you send your avatar, the avatar meets other people's avatar, and then it collects the data, collects the relation, the transaction, and bring back to you. So it is important that your digital identity then stays in your control. And then we bring the aspects that we apply in the normal life, like consent. Consent is very important in the human identity environment. Your consent has a value when you invite somebody to your house to have a dinner. You provide the consent to come into your house to have that dinner. You don't give unlimited consent. That consent is restricted to the permissions that you're giving in that specific moment of the transaction, the human transactions. That does not exist on the internet. When you give consent for always. In some cases, you cannot even retrieve that consent back because you have signed a opt-in document that forces you to keep providing that consent, even if you don't agree anymore, or even because you understood at that point that that consent was not required. So the how to do it, which is the objective on the global dialogue towards the wall of one humanity, is to be able to provide every human person on Earth with its own identity under its control. So it is the person that controls the identity. It's not the government, it's not the bank, it's not the institution, it's not the web, it's not the United Nations, it's not YSK, it's not OIST, it's nobody that controls that identity. That identity is decentralized using blockchain technology. It lives on ledgers, so you can verify the ledger as a way to check your identity. And that identity is owned by the person. So the person issues that identity if he wish. If he doesn't wish, doesn't need to do it. You might opt out of having a digital identity because you don't need it in your life. Imagine you're a farmer that will necessarily not need to go to the internet or a extreme location on Earth that your interactions with the internet will not be required. You will not necessarily need an identity, but if you need an identity, that identity is yours. Now that identity, it's basically issued in a way that is recognized by the entire Web 3.0 and previous editions. So nobody can exclude you. If I introduce myself into Facebook, into social network with my identity, there's no way that the website can reject and force me to issue a consumer identity, which is what happened now. I mean, if I go to a social media, I will not be able to single sign on with my digital identity today, despite that this technology is available. I will have to issue another identity, which is the consumer identity that the platform wants to issue to me. So this requires a lot of interactions. It's not an easy battle because the business model of building a digital identity as a consumer is a $20 trillion business model. A lot of people are making a lot of money. Their intention is to make money. It's nothing else. It's not to help you to protect your data. It's actually making money out of your data. Your data is your currency. And obviously that will require governments, will require international organizations, then they will start to put some procedures and regulations and facilitate the use of the technology and make the technology easy to use and easy to have and not cost for every single human. The United Nations Sustainable Development Goals mentions that every human should have right to its identity, and if not, there's abuses because there are many countries where humans do not have that right or that access to the technology, and obviously they are immediately intermediaries, and they will take opportunities on the fact of not having that identity to abuse and create all kind of abuses, and they are very well known in the international use of the internet. So this is the event. We always say that the important thing is the intention of humans. Technology, this notion that technology is not good or bad is actually a wrong notion. I think the intention that we have to develop technology primes before the technology. If we have only intentions to make money, then our technology will be biased by that intention. And we need to bring other players, and they have maybe more international inclusive intentions to bring the world population to have a digital identity or not have an identity, whatever that will be their choices, that will happen. I'm just going to end up this presentation by an image which I think is very interesting. When the primitive man discovered fire, because he was outside and fire was available, and he approached to fire, he realized that the fire warms him and he was feeling good, and then he realized that he could cook the animal and taste better and be easier to digest. Then he felt in this innovation, this technology, this discovery was such an amazing thing that he wanted his family to share that. So he brought that fire inside a cave where he has his family, his kids. And what happened? Everybody died because obviously the CO2 emission from that fire created that nobody was able to survive. So that technology was good. The place and location of use was wrong. Why? Because in the cave, they didn't have the process of evacuating the smoke. So another primitive man realized that after many failures, that maybe if they open a chimney in the cave and let the smoke to get out of the cave, then they could master the use of the fire without compromising their lives, compromising their security. And then obviously fire become a very big invention, because people could inside the caves protect themselves in the winter and being able to cook and feed their families. So there is an example why technologies cannot be immediately used if you don't realize the consequences that technology will have in the future. And that's why we need to bring wisdom in the way we apply them. So that affects everybody. And this is something that if we plan in the architecture of the future technology, including the conversion of this technology, blockchain, artificial intelligence, IoT, things, and they are getting very powerful. If we don't bring those concerns into the platform, the platforms will become hostile to us, and the technology might destroy us or jeopardize our humanity. Thank you very much for your attention. And if you would like to join us in this event, the registration is free. It is available on our website, in the oiste.org website, so you can register for free and join us in the United Nations for this very interesting event. Thank you very much for your attention. All the best.